I'm just going to join with a second PC that's going to show my screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I think we're live, guys. Welcome everybody to this month's this quarter's report and outlook report for Q1, outlook for Q2. Thanks for joining me, Mikhail and Ash, and our co-host Anthony. Welcome, guys. So it's a pretty exciting quarter, I think. I got excited I should share this on my screen, but I don't know. Can I share two screens? Let's try it. Let's try adding, not that one. That one's coming up. Oops. Uh-oh.
No screens.
Let's see. I want to present, share screen again. I accidentally removed the one that I want to share. So I'll share that again, but we won't be talking about that one just yet. I want to see if I can share two screens. Oh, it's just one screen at a time.
I don't think you can share two screens. Yeah.
Well, the only thing that I was
have two tabs.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about the tweet that just went out from Quantum Explorer, basically saying that that the version of Testnet that's ready to be tested and possibly even abused is out right now. It's been out for a day or so. Anthony, you and I tested it a little bit on stream. Was that yesterday? Or was that 2 days ago?
Yesterday. It was Saturday.
2
days ago.
Yeah, so we tested it and we got through the part of the tutorial that is for new people working on Dash platform just fine without any bugs, other than that one bug that we didn't have enough credits. So that was more of a tutorial issue than anything else, network related. So far so good, and hopefully everybody can join and test Testnet, try to break it, as Sam would say, and try to use it. So that's really exciting, and it's exciting for us this quarter because that's going to be a big part of my strategy going forward this quarter, is to try to get several new people that may know nothing about Dash or even cryptocurrency for that matter, using it, trying it out as traditional web developers. But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Any opening remarks, Ash or Mikhail, that you wanted to just get out there?
I mean, that's great news. Right. That's what we want to hear. I'm sorry, 1 second. My other PC, I think, is audio is coming through. Yeah, I think it's great news. I think that getting Testnet to this point where we're ready to sort of bring developers in with a kind of step-by-step guide that's more open, and without them having to debug a load of things, without them unsure if Testnet's going to be reliable or not, it's a really great step. And I think I put a comment even on the Dash Discord yesterday, or so, that we really just need more developers, even if it's just hobbyists, even if it's people that aren't developers and they're just running through the tutorial and they're testing it, because they're going to run into those errors and those user experience sort of flaws where they can suggest revisions. And we just need more independent developers, whether they come just voluntarily, whether they go via the incubator directly to the network, just any developer, even anyone in the Dash community that has a tiny interest in this should go through that tutorial, and various different tutorials that they should be out there. We should onboard them and encourage that as much as possible. So some good news.
Any opening remarks? Well, I'm going to actually find that tutorial on. So, Mikhail, anything to say about that? Because I did want to bring up the helpful tool that you built along the way as well. So, you're muted.
Well, yes, I'm excited about new platform version 2 because, as Quantum said, we're supposed to kill it, to destroy this platform and test it all the way. So yeah, it plans some developer tools that I'm currently working on. So yeah, a lot of stuff to do, a lot of things that we can do, and yeah,
Yeah. So go ahead and let's share my screen. It's already there, but it's not. There we go.
Yeah, because you have to be on the view that also shares the screen. So
gotcha. Okay, yeah. So this is let's see. That's not it actually. Let's go platform docs. This is what we're talking about right now, and I will caveat this with, I think Dash Core Group might need a day or two to get the latest version of.
bump up font.
Yeah. Get the latest version of Dash Core running on Testnet before anybody really tries to hammer this. That's one thing that I saw in the chat. So anyway, this is the tutorial that we're talking about. You connecting to the network, creating funding a wallet. These steps right here. Identities and names has a bunch of sub steps. Anthony, you and I have gone through this a few times and had several bugs before 2 days ago, but like we said, 2 days ago it was all good. And yeah, so that's what we're talking about, just in case anybody's wondering. And we do have a video of that. I'm going to, let's see. Oh, that's not the one I was looking for. YouTube.com/dash at Dash Incubator is our YouTube channel. Subscribe. And yes, the stream that we did about that was right here in the live. If you click on live, we're going to be doing a few more of these. So that's why I wanted to show people how to get here. We do live streams, coding live streams, and just documentation review live streams. This is the one that we're doing right now. So this is the series, this end-to-end Dash tutorial series was what we were talking about. So now let's go ahead and get into the quarterly report and discussion about what our strategy is going to be going forward as well. So I will go ahead and start. Let's see, we're on my screen. So in this quarter, in Q1 last quarter, so looking back from the previous quarter now, I funded 9 projects, and the vast majority of my funding was for the modern vanilla web wallet. This was my focus last quarter and will probably be a focus this quarter as well. But maybe not the primary focus this quarter. But last quarter, we did spend quite a bit on this. There were several issues so we had about 5 people working on this last quarter. The bulk of it was obviously the lead developer, Jojo Byte, and myself and AJ and 2 other random testers were alpha testing it. We did run into several user experience type issues that required us to re-architecture a few things, and just like the flow, and we ran into some bugs that we needed to fix that required library updates and whatnot. So this was a little bit more than I wanted to spend last quarter, especially considering the progress that we have so far. But this is, I think, one of the most important things that we can be working on is having a great web wallet with integrations into CrowdNode and Maya and different Dash spend, as I want to ask Ash about in the call later today. So we'll be doing those 3 integrations this quarter. We did want to get to some of those last quarter, but again, ran into some issues that we needed to tackle. The next one down, Dash platform contributions. This was mostly AJ basically trying to get all the platform components working together and built without using Docker. And we were able to get that successfully completed in terms of getting all the pieces talking together and built together. I don't know if that's going to work with the current. We do need to update that with the latest Dash platform, testnet, and testing it to see if all the pieces are still talking together, because there were some significant re-architectures on Dash core group side that may affect what AJ was doing. And we're going to, I think right now is probably a good time to look back into that again, to see if we have all those pieces talking to each other again. And then we would want to script that in a way that makes it easy for masternode owners, specifically Evo node operators, to easily spin that up without using Dashmate or Docker, if that's their preference. So that's one of the main focuses from last quarter. And then this show, the next thing on the list was this show, basically where we have various people coming in and talking about what they've been working on in the incubator. And this is going to be, we're going to continue this show, obviously, and I want to this quarter also have more videos that are not on Monday at 10 o'clock my time, 4 p.m. I think is UTC. I want to do some during the week as well, and then that's going to I'll talk about that a little bit later. That's part of my strategy. So the next item is the strategy. And I'll say that one of the main things, this is like the bucket that basically covers everything that's not itemized as a specific project. This is basically my time figuring out what we should be working on, and researching. The main thing that I've been doing with this particular line item is researching the Web 2 space in depth, and getting myself to a point where I am very conversant with the current technologies of web development, so that we can approach those web developers and have conversations about how Dash platform fit into their technology stacks. And Anthony, I've been talking for a while, so I'm going to invite you to say a little bit about that. It is a project that you've been working on. I'll talk about that. This is the web frameworks integrations, but I want you to say a little bit about that now, just to give me a little bit of a break for one. And I think it's relevant to this strategy line as well, because it takes a long time. It's kind of a full-time job keeping up with the Web 2 space.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think it's very important strategically that we court these developers in a way where we're speaking their language and we know what technologies they're using, because a lot has changed since the time that Dash platform was envisioned, and what we have now in the Web 2 space, and how that might be integrated into their stack. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, if you think historically, I think Dash probably came around when React was just first invented. So as you said, a lot has changed. And for us, I think what we've really been focusing on is getting first actual like good front end examples created, so that they have something to instantly spin up and work with, and then do things like live streams and pair coding with other people who are in the Web 2 space, who are maybe popular streamers themselves, and both to kind of get exposed to a different audience, but also to just get their feedback and hear how it is working with it. And we were talking about, context and knowing what they're going to expect. I think knowing kind of where they're coming from and how they expect particular things to work is always interesting when you talk about Web 2 and Web 3. And if you can kind of hide a lot of the kind of Web 3 decentralized messiness from them, then you can make it basically as good of an experience, but it does take a lot of thought and time. But yeah, I think it's something that, I have been hosting a podcast about, like all of these front end frameworks that have been going on for a while. So I definitely feel like I have a pretty good handle on like what are the frameworks in terms of like how to actually convince a Web 2 developer to want to do Web 3. That's almost like a philosophical question to a certain extent, because if they're not already into it, they may not really even know what the benefits are why they would want to do it, and being able to also kind of pair all of that with the tech is really important.
Yeah, just to highlight that a little bit, what we're talking about here is, taking a step back. The past few weeks in Incubator Weekly, we've talked about, our topic has been, so 3 weeks ago it was, exactly, the name escapes me exactly, but it was like Dash platform for web developers or something like that.
Yeah,
we want to build web applications that are decentralized web applications, so-called dApps. And what people need to know in the Dash space, like masternode owners and community members in the Dash space, is that all front-end web development, it's a very evolving space right now. It's kind of surprising if you're not researching it in depth right now to find that out, that like, oh, wow, the traditional web space is still evolving very rapidly actually right now. And so when we're talking about building dApps, we have to remember that the front end of those decentralized applications are traditional technologies. And the way that the space is going right now, we have these frameworks, as you see here in the URL bar. This is bestofjs.org. It just kind of gives an idea of what people are building with. So you have React on the top, you have Vue, Angular, Svelte, Vue, Preact, HTMX is a new kid on the block. Solid is one of my favorites, that's focusing more on reactivity. And these other front-end frameworks, there's just a lot of them. Quick is relatively new. Lit is very lightweight and pretty cool. But I want to build integrations with all of the ways that Web 2 developers are accustomed to, and so that it's very easy for them to use our technologies. So not asking them to come into the Web 3 space, but facilitating us to come into the Web 2 space in a way that's familiar with them. And maybe like other guys, Ash or Mikhail, jump in if you want, if you have anything to say about this particular topic. But I feel like there's a significant reputational damage that Web 3 has faced, which is our scene. I don't like to call it Web 3 necessarily, because I think it creates an unnecessary divide, but that's what the industry has called us, Web 3, basically bringing blockchain technologies into full stack development of decentralized applications. Here's another view of that, just by the way. I don't know if we're still looking at my screen, but you can see like different trends. And so this is like, people put a lot of stake into this idea of like front-end frameworks. And I just wanted to give the audience here a taste of that, because it takes a lot of time to research these and to get acquainted with the communities, the key players and influencers in these various communities. And that's what I've been trying to research. That's what I'm bringing Anthony into the incubator for. He's been in for a while, but it's for this reason, because he's got some experience and has rubbed shoulders with a lot of these communities. So, but what I was saying to close off that thought was that in this space, in this front end traditional Web 2 developer space, I feel like they have a bad taste in their mouth for crypto and Web 3 stuff. Yeah, and definitely. We need to do everything that we can, including but not limited to financial incentives, to help bring them, like, to clear our name essentially and say, hey, we at Dash, we are trying to build something that actually has value and that actually is useful for you as a traditional developer. And it not until they realize that we have something that we're offering them that actually has real utility and is not just some pump and dump scam that they have heard about, and that is really their primary perception of this whole space. we need to help overcome that, and it's going
Yeah, I mean-
to take some time to do that, I think.
Yeah,
I think it comes down. Sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I'll just say it quickly, and then we can switch.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, we encountered this a lot. Like when I first got into Web3, I went on a lot of podcasts because I had come up through Web2 and then got a job doing Web3, and then kind of went on all my friends' podcasts, or most of them. Like I would contact them, and some people were just like curious and just wanted to learn more because they've been hearing about it and they didn't really know anything about it. And some people were just like, nah, I don't really want that on my show. So there, you can kind of gauge people. Like some will be very anti, some will be, maybe a little suspicious but open to it, and some will be like, I'm just curious to learn more. But if someone's already into it, you probably know already.
Go ahead, Ash. What were you going to say?
So I think I could talk about this for probably multiple hours, but in terms of it, there's a lot of different parts to it. There's one part of it is obviously the community building side and how passionate that community is, and you look at people like Theo at T3 and just how big an audience they're able to cultivate and how people follow them. They'll follow tutorials, they'll build their Airbnb clones, their Uber clones, and they'll take part in that world. But also, like you say, there's this divergence in terms of what we're building and where the sort of Web2 space is, and opinions of crypto versus this side of things. But then there's also a massive overlap between people working on these things, or not necessarily working on these things, but working with these things. A lot of the crypto apps are using, modern front end development frameworks, or, let's say full stack side of things, whether it's Next or, something like that. And it's like, how do we bring the two together and actually offer value to those developers? And for me, I kind of see it in a way, kind of like a headless CMS for a front-end developer to build application logic into their front end by using a tool like Platform. So they're not hosting databases, they're not hosting a server, they're using Platform for that. And how do we get to that? Is that case of, there's kind of like a gap in between the two right now. Is it a case of tooling? Is it a case of, different layers, integrations, and part of that, like you say, is being part of that community and working with those sort of senior developers to introduce these concepts into their sort of existing platform.
Yeah, and another thing to say about that is that the space, the Web2 space, has changed a little bit, unfortunately, to some degree, in that 5 years ago, the single page application was all the rage. And now people are moving back to the server side for their application delivery, server side rendering, and hosting your database on in servers instead of having APIs. And that's a little bit of an unfortunate trend for us for what we're delivering, because what we're delivering was ideal for the single page application architecture. But I do think that the industry is going to start swinging back. It's like a pendulum. It swings front end, back end every few years. And I do think that there will be probably a swing back to focusing on the front end and single page applications and using APIs and SDKs and things like that. And we'll probably be in a good position for that. And I think one of the main reasons that people are swinging back to the back end is that you have a lot of VC-backed companies that are needing to get revenue, and they get revenue from doing storage and hosting and computation, execution on their platforms. And that's that's understandable, obviously. Like it's good for them to get paid, but that's also what we want to take a part of, having people do that storage on our back end, essentially. So we're gonna have to have a great product. Is
like,
the bottom line.
Can we drop in and replace MongoDB? Like, how easily can we just straight up be like, yep, this is a decentralized version of MongoDB. We've made it really simple for you guys as devs, whether you're using Next or another sort of server-side rendering, JavaScript-based, TypeScript-based framework, and then it's like, okay, decentralized storage it's something, but really the value is in that decentralized application logic. But when can we introduce that back in? Like, how can we get that first bite, open our foot in the door, and then there's other features that you can use here. It has to be it has to be easy and a gentle slope. We can't say, hey, here's platform, you can do all this stuff with it, and expect devs to be just like not, immediately walls come up for most devs. I'm not saying there aren't, people that will persevere and put that effort in to overcome that first like learning curve. But there are a lot of people that, will immediately be deterred by a huge barrier in terms of new knowledge and new functionality and capability. I think platform already, we struggle to communicate the value of. So it has to be graceful and gentle.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you three to have a little banter while I go get my cup full of water again, and then I'm going to continue down my list, and then we'll move on to Mikhail after that, and then Ash after that. So I'll be back in 1 minute, literally.
What's everyone's favorite new TV show?
No, let's talk platform. Let's talk development. Anthony or Anthony?
Anthony. Yeah, I mean either. So my co-host calls me Anthony. He's from the UK.
Exactly. There you go. In terms of this, how do you see us getting that earlier sort of penetration with developers who aren't familiar with platforms? So or even crypto, someone who's a Web 2 developer, pretty, let's say early, they've been working for a few years, mainly front end, maybe they played around with a bit of Next, Node, whatever. How would we get them onboarded to platform to even a basic degree? Yeah, big open topic.
Yeah, I think I kind of hit on some of it high level earlier, but I think first you just want to make sure that you're gonna like have a very, very simple functioning working tutorial that is almost impossible to not be able to finish, because especially when it's new tech, if they hit a weird bug halfway through and they get an error they don't understand and they don't know where to look up stuff, and they find these different versions of docs and all these different repos, like this is especially a problem when you have a huge decentralized project with lots and lots of resources, some of which have been created over the course of 10 years. So having that really good golden path, like a Ruby on Rails style experience of just like,
do you think like like an in-browser terminal side of thing, or do you think people should just use their own dev tools? Like how can we, what's the code that people use to code? Like it starts off with just like in a terminal and you can just do it.
You're talking about things like Replit and Code Sandbox and
I mean, you could actually use their tooling. I'm pretty sure they allow you to, kind of use their. But like I'm saying, can we do a sort of really clear developer funnel where we've got a in browser terminal and some sort of persistent storage, however that's working? How could we do something to make it really entry level? Because I think every little point of friction is a drop-off point for developers. How would we do that?
No, I agree, and it's definitely possible to, like, the examples that I'm creating right now, you could run in like a Stack Blitz or a Code Sandbox or Git Pod. There's a whole bunch of these, and they come integrated with CLIs, and then once you get the front ends, then you can spin up the front end. And the main thing is getting testnet funds. That is like the big thing. That is the huge part of the tutorial that will get a lot of people. So
can we just literally do we need to set it up? Yeah, do we need to set up a faucet that just uses, I hate to use like Google, but like reCAPTCHA or whatever? Can we just do a JavaScript proof of work faucet that has significant levels of funds? Like this should not be a problem.
Yeah,
like running into this, like when I use the faucet, I have to use the code master node, then I send it out to little other wallets to actually continue using it. I know we set up our own sort of faucet ourselves for our development here, for our own. Obviously, you have your Genesis master nodes and all that kind of stuff, but this needs to not be a problem. It cannot be that. I know it is a problem in Ethereum and stuff that you have to go and find some faucet somewhere that they're often run by these blockchain as a service companies where you have to have an account with them. It's a mess. This should not be a barrier for developers. We need to have a faucet that has some JavaScript proof of work to prevent it just being spammed and emptied and just continually mining and adding funds. I don't care if the incubator is running miners on testnet or whatever it is. We just need to solve this problem permanently and never have to worry.
I'm glad you're saying this, because I said the exact same thing on our last stream.
Yeah, and actually, the one funny thing is one of the first actual development projects that I worked on in the incubator was to try to solve this problem. I made a little app that basically was a very streamlined faucet, and it did some basically IP checking to make sure that it wasn't being abused. So maybe we'll have to resurrect that or make something better. But yeah, it's a problem.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, so let's go back to my list now. I want to finish this up real quick so that we can get on to the other ones. So payment tools and merchant tools, we did some work on this. This is Dash bread and butter stuff. Part of this was, when we're making the web wallet, we're using incubator tooling for the payment tools. So we have our own libraries and SDKs that are very, very lightweight, very, very efficient, and we needed to do some work on that. Merchant tools, this is always going to be something that I will make room for if there's an opportunity. So we did a little bit of that last quarter. The merchant loyalty credit system, that's still a work in progress. And I'm not really driving that one, but I am funding it when the developer is working on it, and I know he is continuing to work on that. So we'll probably see a little bit of that next quarter as well. Web framework integrations, we just spoke a lot about that. We didn't spend a whole lot of funds on that, but this will probably be our number one or two. Number two, it'll be in the top three probably this quarter, because this is going to be one of my focuses. And then just that Dash Incubator org is just miscellaneous stuff that we spent, infrastructure or some kind of spreadsheet updating or something like that, some internal funds for that. Mikhail, do you want to jump in and talk about, I'm going to switch this. Well, I guess I'll show this little pie chart real quick just so that people can see the distribution of that. I'm zoomed in here, so maybe I'll zoom out one more. You'll see this in the report as well. So I'm going to switch this to your projects and go ahead and talk about them. Your list.
Sure. So there was some work. Can you get the table? So yeah, there was quite work on the Electrum mostly. So what we've done is the major features is that we recovered private send feature into the wallet and recovered Electrum Dash org website, not the original domain, but we got a couple of others, and we built it on the Next.js, which is server-side rendering, which was we were talking about recently.
Yeah.
And that allowed the website to be indexed into the search engine optimization, into the search engines, and we already can see that if we Google Electrum Dash wallet, then.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract with this. I think this is just my office space has some kind of issue with your certificate. So it's a shame that we can't show that, because it was very useful in our stream 2 days ago.
Can you not just get past that with the advanced?
Okay, maybe,
proceed?
Yeah. Let me go ahead and try
Live
that.
dangerously, Ryan.
Oh, I'm dangerous. Okay, so
I mean, you're not doing. No.
Yeah, you can't, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's not through the icon on the not secure. So
this normally works for me at home. But.
So basically, the benefits of this website done via Next.js is that we can get the website in the search engines, and when the people are searching through the Google, through other search engines, they will get results. And if we Google like Dash Electrum or Electrum Dash into Google, we already can see that it's there in the search results. Yeah, can you do this real quick, Ryan, please?
Where do I go?
Yeah, just Dash Electrum or Electrum Dash.
Dash Electrum wallet. Okay.
It should be there. A bit down. Yeah, the second I
This
believe
one?
is that what we have. Yeah, this is the website.
Looks like it was a React app. You got the React logo there. Here again, probably the same issue.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, it's working, but something
Yeah.
with the connection, I believe.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's there in the search results, and that's the most important thing, because when people be searching for the wallet, they first will be typing in it into the search engine to get the link to the download wallet and stuff. Yeah, so that's the main features that was done through Electrum Dash, a concept project, and we also maintaining Dev infrastructure that allows us to keep the infrastructure for Electron web servers, for Platform Explorer. What else? There are also dashboards for checking the monitoring status of the services. Yeah. So that's basically, yeah, for the infrastructure for running the projects that we be doing. There was also some work on the AnyPay app, which is self-custodial payment payment app that you can use to accept payments in Dash and Bitcoin or any other. So what we've done is we upgraded it to the latest SDK, Dart SDK, to Dart Free, which introduces sound null safety. And also we've done some work on changing backend URL and something, and we did a page, something like about that shows the info about the application and the build number. Yeah, and Platform Explorer, of course, there was some work, but mostly like maintenance. I have added some missing info about some system entities, like system documents, system data contracts that weren't available in the Platform Explorer. The thing is that we basically have things that are on chain, and there are some entities that gets populated off the chain before the actually blockchain starts. That's called like init chain. And on this init chain, there are several system entities like documents, system data contracts, and stuff like that. So I have added this information into Platform Explorer, and yeah, on each platform network upgrade, I ensure that everything is running and just upgrade to the latest versions, to the latest network updates and stuff like that. And yeah, and the last one is Dashcore contributions that is done by Cryptatura, aka sorry, and yeah, those Dashcore contributions are done together with past with the DCG, the pasta from the DCG.
Mm-hmm.
The VJ, the name of the developer is VJ. Sorry.
Yeah, we had him on a previous show before. If anyone wants to look into that, he's doing backports mostly.
Yeah. So what he's doing is he picking up some pull requests from Bitcoin repository and dragging them back into the Dashcore, so that we have similar features in both, like some backports from Bitcoin into the Dashcore. Stuff like that. So my strategy.
I was just going to ask a follow up on that. I do like to focus on that because that is this 180 dash. It's not just for thinking, but it is a lot of like you want to make sure that you're building the right things, because you can do a lot of work digging a hole and filling it back up again. but that would be a failure of strategy, right? Because you want to be doing valuable things. I, for one, have found the Platform Explorer to be very valuable. I'm not a Dash Electrum user, so I think that you're doing a great job with strategy so far, but talk about this upcoming quarter.
Yeah. I want to get some more developers into our projects. I have been searching for good guys the last quarter, but today the most important thing is that we need some not just coders. We need hackers that really know what they are doing, and there are a lot of people that just on Ethereum hype stuff, and that the people that don't really know anything about Bitcoin blockchains, about things that we are building, and these type of guys like not really understand what we are trying to accomplish, what we are doing. So my strategy is to find those guys eventually. And
it takes a lot of time, by the way. Like, finding good developers is not easy.
Yes.
Recruiting is part of this. Yeah.
Yeah, there were people that I was contacted with, and I didn't find really good guys that could deliver really fair things for the Dash, because we don't want to really waste the budget on some people that just do things like for money or stuff like that. We need really hackers that are interested in that they would be like they'd be curious about things that
They
things
have the
that
passion.
Yeah, they're going to look under the hood. They're going to peel stuff back. They're going to try and, break things and make it better. They're going to complain about shit that's broken and not just do the basics. They're not going to put in their 9 to 5. They're actually going to really want to make this better.
So I'm continue on searching for these people. I have some ideas where to find them. Yeah, and another things that we are going to do is to keep on developing SDKs and doing stuff for the platform. As an example, there is a platform explorer that we already there is a API of the Platform Explorer, and we are going to extend it with more functionality. On the Platform Explorer, there is a separate page on the API of the Platform Explorer that developers already can use. This API is heavily tested. There are integration tests for each of API endpoint that will ensure that everything works as expected. And some of the features are that you could possibly subscribe on some actions that is happening in platform chains. For example, you could subscribe on documents happening on the data contract, so you can subscribe on some transactions happening on identities or stuff like that, and that you can get a callback for your application that you are building. That's mostly for the third-party developers. Also the SDKs, I'm looking for a way for interact with the platform via SDK. Right now we only have Dash SDK that is available from the DCG. They are developing Dash SDK, but it has some shortcomings, like it waits too much, it syncs with the network, like you have to download a lot of data to keep to sync with the network. And what I'm researching, what I'm developing is some kind of SDK that would allow us to have lightweight connection with the platform and allow us to submit documents, submit register identities, and do all of the basic operations without taking those weights, taking those without a lot of latency, a lot of waiting time, and yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, and I fully agree with you. We talked a little bit about before we were talking about how the Dash SDK had actually shrunk in size, and it turns out that the latest version of Dev 10 SDK actually grew again. So I'm not sure what's happening there. I remember last time we talked about this, we clicked on the latest dev version and it was like half of what it used to be. And even Dash Money talked about it a little bit. Well, now it's back up and it's even higher than it used to be. So I'm not really sure what's happening there, but we do need a lighter weight version to be able to contact.
I find the performance is just, even the, ignoring the weight of the library, the performance of it is just, it's just not quite there, like username lookups taking over 10 seconds, and just, it adds, several seconds to load times when you're booting it up. It's just, yeah, it's just too much. It's, there are just issues there. And I know we can do things where username lookups could be faster if we utilize, Platform Explorer or whatever else like that. And I'm kind of curious on how we can make it still decentralized and trustless, but much faster, because at the moment, from a user, if they're waiting 12 seconds for a username lookup, or it's adding all to the page load, it is, because it's not just the it's not just the downloading the file, the package, it's the connecting to the blockchain, and that taking several seconds. It's just, all of it feels slow, and
I can't contact Web 2 developers like that. Like I just don't feel good about it. So yeah,
laughed out of the room if you show them this.
Yeah, we'll keep working on this. Speaking, Mikhail, did you have anything else to say on that? Oh, you got to get going. So do you have any final parting words before you get going? We'll continue the show.
Yeah, no, just excited to do more web stuff. So
okay,
and, good to meet you, Ash.
Yeah, you too.
Yep.
Good guys.
All right, see ya.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll stick on for a little bit longer. I had a few more things to say about what my plans are going forward.
Let me talk about my project. Woo!
Yes, Ash, let's move on to you.
Let me try to screen those 1 second. Let's see if we can present. Unfortunately, I hate developing on Windows, so I refuse to run the extension on my Windows PC, which is what you're seeing me on here. All right,
okay.
let's.
I need to add this to the stage, I guess.
I'm just going to share screen on my other account, and let's see if this works here. Interesting. Oh, okay. Probably should have given this a little test run before we started, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I'm just allowing Google Chrome into my to record my screen, basically. Let's do a. I'm just going to do entire screen because I'm worried that the extension won't allow you to.
Oh, it won't show the extension pop up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. It is not going to show it because it's booting in its own little Chrome. Wait. I know what to do. I know what to do here. Sorry. I have to open this in normal Chrome because it's booting in its own sort of single user session, which doesn't have permissions to view my screen. Whereas if I open a new user that isn't a guest profile, let's see. Might be dodgy. 1 second. We'll get there.
Sure.
Here we go. StreamYard. Let's go. Load up the call link.
If you want, I can talk for a little bit while you're working.
Sure.
I have. Let's see. Now we don't have Anthony to help me do this, but let me go back to this screen. One of the things that I'm going to start doing is trying to go to Web2 developer conferences and represent Dash either formally or informally. The one that I found that's like, I'm super excited about this is Epic Web Conference 2024. This is coming up April 11th. So next week. I don't have my tickets yet, but I'm going to get my ticket. I'm going to try to pay for it with Spritz. So I might actually show that on a live stream or at least a video and update that or upload that to the incubator account.
Should be good now.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to say a little bit more about this later, but let's move on to you. Add to stage.
See it.
And how do we?
Just my screen share is the main thing.
Let's see. I think I added you to screen. Let me remove this.
There's one called my screen or whatever. Should be
Dash screen. It's showing right now, but I don't see.
I've got it on the sharing. It says you're sharing your screen at the moment. And don't add me. Add my share or whatever.
Here we go. I think
there you go. Oh, I've got some recursion going. Beautiful. All right. Okay. So let's just run this. So this just boots up really easily. It used to be very complex to get this running because of another developer. Let's just.
Can you zoom in or expand or something?
Yeah, dash.org. Let's just load that up, and then we're going to pin this, and we're going to try and zoom in. Or actually, this isn't going to zoom in the extension. Might be clear enough. I don't know. Let's see. Can you see this? All right. Yeah. Okay. So we got a basic view of what's going on here. So DashPay extension is equivalent sort of MetaMask for Dash style project. The issue with any sort of decentralized application and using it, you do not want to be uploading, importing seed phrases every time you use one or uploading a key store. We needed a system that allows us to kind of log into these apps. I know Dash Core Group have done some research in this, but the mobile wallet is where we're doing DashPay, Dash platform stuff in Dash Evolution. And that's not going to allow our dApp developers to really easily integrate users into their systems. So I've been working on an extension for a long time through a myriad of developers, but now we've got it to a very stable state. This is mostly UI. We have scaffolded it for integration into sort of platform, but we've had issues developing against platform, as mentioned a little bit earlier. So part of this is going to be a case of leveraging the work that Shenmik is doing, both in terms of a lightweight library or using Platform Explorer to make things faster, and as well as the work that Ryan's doing in terms of the vanilla web wallet, just more efficient, faster, more secure libraries, less dependencies, a cleaner code base. It may seem that the three of us are working on separate sort of work, but there's a hell of a lot of overlap between what we do. And part of what Ryan's kind of job is to kind of see that cohesion in terms of a longer term vision. So in terms of this, the goal with this is to be a kind of, I guess, a social wallet. This is a different approach, when MetaMask and a lot of the wallets that we currently use today are very transaction focused. They're very kind of like spreadsheet accounting. This is more supposed to be kind of like a Venmo level sort of service. So it's more about the social interaction with your friends and with decentralized applications. So the goal here is that you can kind of have these sort of conversations with people, request and send funds to them, and interact with people in kind of a social way, as well as with the legacy sort of transactions. And you can kind of see some of how this all sort of form. But really, the key thing here is that sort of interaction with decentralized applications, with projects like CTExpend, with the other work that we're doing, and creating sort of a passport between all these sort of different systems. If I go back to the debug screen, you can see some more of the sort of windows. So an individual chat, so you can talk and make payments to each other. And just request funds, attach notes to those funds. And it gives you a way to make those transactions more social, more human, rather than like a ledger, like a list. So the idea is this would become sort of a social payment system, but as well as those interactions with the decentralized applications. So you'll have your friends, you'll have your social graph on here, and you can send and receive funds to them and attach meaning to those sort of transactions. Obviously,
are the transactions, the payment transactions, are they going to be using primarily credit transfers or layer one?
This is all layer one in terms of actually paying. Obviously, there will be a case of whether people do tokens and NFTs and whatever else on platform, but there is all the platform interactions in terms of writing to data contracts and using your identity. So everything is kind of that crossover between platform and layer one. So layer one transactions, but attached to platform sort of identities.
Great. Glad to hear that.
This is all obviously built as a web extension, so which is quite limited on how you do things. But the advantage of that is it can be deployed to mobile. It can be deployed, as a standalone web app. If you actually even go into it, it is actually kind of like a web app itself. There are lots of things that we can do with this, and I think the key thing is that whatever is being done on the vanilla web wallet, whatever we're doing with SDKs and things, I want to either incorporate that into this or incorporate this into them. I want to have an extension wallet where a user has their identity. They have, multiple identities that they can, go through, like if they go to an accounts page and they could switch they're using their personal payments. They've got their Web 2, Web 3 sort of identities there as well. It is easy to manage and work for those accounts. So yeah, there's a lot of different parts to this. Mostly at the moment, it's UX. We've made it like a lot cleaner now and a lot easier to develop, but obviously we're time limited because of other things. I would love to find another developer. I would love to have the time to put the effort into pursuing another developer. Now that this is a very clean sort of project, if someone is more interested in the hard focused development of the platform integration in terms of the contracts for the chat, because this is using the way this is designed to work is to use the Signal protocol, which a project 2 or 3 years ago in the incubator built an example of. It was called WhatsApp, which was a decentralized messenger built on Dash platform. So now that this project is a lot cleaner packaged, it'll be a lot easier for a developer to pick up and work with that wants to focus on more of the platform integration side of things. So that's the next major stage. Most of the UX is done. There's a few little bits of polishing and things, but the actual core functionality in terms of how everything sort of looks, and the fact that it's all scaffolded to have that data come in from platform and everything like that. So yeah, it's there. It's just a case of turning this into an actual functioning platform app. And the other core part of that is that handshake between the web apps themselves and the extension. We did some early reference examples of that, which we have. But a key thing for me is that interoperability with the rest of Web 2, whether that's Wallet Connect or otherwise. I had some conversations with one of the guys at Dash Core Group that was researching Wallet Connect and the equivalents, Web3.js sort of stuff. And the issue with Wallet Connect is some of it was closed source, and it was kind of like a bit of a black box that data was going into. So we do want to do this, but we want to do it right. But we also want to do it fast and get it ready for developers so that we don't have to do this, insert your keys, like your phrase. We need to have this really simple developer add this library, which doesn't have lots of dependencies and isn't full of bloat. And then you can do a handshake with, a platform extension, and then you can make your decentralized application accessible to all of the Dash platform users. And a lot of this will become better and faster through use of things like the platform indexer through those better libraries. And like I said earlier, it's important that we do this in a way where we're not trusting, anything that could form a man-in-the-middle attack. I'm talking about things where, when I'm looking up usernames and making sure there is no, when, let's say, I go to the username creation flow, when I type in a username here, I don't need this to check against Dash platform. I can check against platform explorers username indexer. And then when I actually come to register that username, that's when the real check happens, the live check as such. You know, the indexer will probably be very up to date, but that's a way that we can make this a lot faster and not have people sitting there for however long waiting to, you know, check against the entire record of usernames, which is only going to get longer on the actual blockchain rather than via an explorer. So yeah, there's so many parts to this, but it overlaps a lot with what Ryan's working on, the vanilla web wallet, in terms of the libraries that they built there, that less dependencies, faster, more secure, just, you know, it's going to be a lot better on that. And things like Mikhail working on the SDK and the Explorer. So my next quarter will be focused on more work on this. Not really, the only other project I would see myself working on is a project that uses this, that would be a reference example of the integration of the handshake between the decentralized application and the extension wallet, and then writing to contracts, data contracts using the extension, and then via a decentralized application. So the decentralized application is sending a message to the extension saying, hey, ask the user permission to write this message to this data contract, you know, and then the extension is going through that process. So that's the next quarter for me, really.
Cool. Well, speaking of that, there was already one question that said on my proposal that I have submitted, why is Ash not requesting any funds again?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm still sitting on, I think it's 600. I've got a proposal to a bit of spending to do today to pay for some of the development work on the extension. But, you know, if I do need more funding, like a top up this quarter, I will do a small ask, like just a single proposal or something. But right now I'm very busy with spend, and I also do believe in, you know, maximizing efficiency of the network. I know we had a treasury increase, but I think that is the, you know, we don't have to spend it all, and I don't need to build up a war chest right now. I do think that my focus will be, you know, on spend, but we need to get spend out the door, and then we're going to feature freeze on that for a while. And that's when we'll be working on more of the integration side of things. So integration into, you know, the web wallet that Ryan's talking about, into multi-coin wallets and things like that. Like, I do still want to largely compete a lot of my outstanding incubator work and work on more projects there, but it's a matter of bandwidth and allocating to what I believe the biggest wins are right now for us, really.
Yeah. Okay. So I've pulled up on the screen here our quarterly reserve planning. As you mentioned, you have 641 Dash left in your reserve from previous funding. And last quarter, you spent an average of 85 Dash per month on this extension that you just talked about. So I just put 100 in here as a placeholder. I don't know how much you're going to allocate to it, but
honestly, I think once this, unless I find a developer that's interested in picking up this project, there will be probably for the next few months, it'll be kind of, well, next couple of months, it'll kind of be on a freeze with maybe some minor bits of work to it.
Wait till you're the right guy.
Yeah, I mean, the UX is largely there. It's a case of building in that platform functionality and some of the layer one functionality. I think you kind of are leading how we would implement the layer one functionality anyway, so there's no point in duplicating any efforts there. And in terms of platform functionality, if there is going to be a faster SDK or if more efficiencies made there, then yeah, that it's logical to utilize that. The frustrating thing is, it is this chicken and egg problem. Like, I do believe that developers would be really well served by having a, you know, an extension that allows them to sign onto the app. So I do want to solve that side of it. But that isn't that complex. If I can squeeze that in this quarter, then I would like to have that, even if it's a separate extension that is just a developer focused, you know, use this to test and for the community to test decentralized applications as well. Yeah. You know, there's so much you can do with this. It's crazy. Like one of the things about platform that people don't appreciate is that it can handle a level of messaging between decentralized applications and wallets. Like everyone right now with the MetaMask side of things, they're often using, you know, they're using their extension or their phone, which has like a DApp browser or whatever side of things in it. But with platform, apps can actually communicate by writing to platform, and that can be picked up by like a mobile app. In the Dash Core mobile wallets, we can have platform functionality, and that handshake can be done through a QR code, where there is, things are being written to platform and then received by the mobile wallet, and vice versa. They're communicating via platform rather than via local sort of their own sort of connection. Like, they're not communicating via a wrapper on a website, like firing events up and down. They're actually communicating via platform. And even in terms of sending off alerts and pinging updates and things like that, it can all happen via platform. And there's a lot of cool stuff that we can do there that down the line.
It'll be fun playing with it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So again, you're requesting 0 this month. Mikhail, I have a placeholder in here for 200 that we had discussed preliminarily. You have not got your proposal up yet, but it's coming shortly. Are you still planning on requesting 200 Dash, or is it something else? Let's see, are you muted? You're muted. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to request 200 Dash. I have a lot of reserve from the previous quarter that is still there. So I think that will be enough for this quarter, 200 Dash. And I will be using this reserve
for 1161 Dash specifically.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to explain this in case somebody hasn't seen my explanation about this spreadsheet yet, or even if you just needed a review. And I'll use you as an example here. So you have this 1161 in reserve. You're requesting 200. I am estimating that you'll spend 300 per month, so you'll be in a 100 plus deficit. This each strategist gets a base reward for strategy and miscellaneous things, recruiting, all sorts of stuff that's not itemized. That's that 20. And then each strategist then also gets 20% of tasks that are completed. If somebody else is completing them, or if you're completing them yourself, then it's obviously different. But that would add up to this 80. So total, you'll be in a 180 Dash deficit per month. But you do have that reserve. So at the end of the month, you would be expected to have 981 Dash. Assuming that funding continues, you have a 5.5 month buffer. Assuming it doesn't continue, that your proposal doesn't pass, you would have a 2.6 month buffer. That's how you interpret this spreadsheet. And then same goes for Ash and myself. I've requested 800 Dash. That's pretty much the minimum that I feel comfortable asking for. With that's 3 to 4 full-time equivalents is what I'm targeting this quarter. I do have a pretty good buffer from last quarter that grew a little bit from last quarter, but I am planning to spend about the same that I'm requesting. So when I add in my strategist rewards for that, I am in a deficit of 240 per month still. Now, if the price goes up, these numbers change. This projected output would go down most likely. The budget request obviously stays static throughout the quarter, but the pricing of outputs and tasks can change based on the purchasing power of Dash. So depending on what the price does, I may or may not have. Right now, I have a 1.1 month buffer, assuming that no funding comes through. Assuming that it does, I have a healthy buffer of 4.9 months and 3.9, and then by the end of the quarter, 2.9. So I just wanted to explain how this table works again for anybody that's, including you guys, Mikhail and Ash. You are always free to refine this as your needs come up. But that's all I wanted to say about that. Ash, you mentioned something about you guys are using Remix framework.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I wanted to mention just real briefly that this Epic Web Dev conference that I'm going to be attending next week is put on by Kent C. Dodds, who is the creator of Remix, or not the creator. He was one of the. It was Ryan Florence and what's the other? Michael Jackson. not that Michael Jackson, but the other.
No, yeah.
Jackson. They are Utah guys, or at least one of them is, or two of the. Let's see, Kent's not part of the Remix team, but he uses it extensively in his course, and he's putting on this conference. I will see him. I will see, here's Kent. I will see many of these other
oh, there you go.
They're coming right down the street from me.
Yeah.
So
we've been loving Remix. So yeah, if you can get any Dash sort of involvement or like collaborations down the line with them. Obviously, there's nothing ready yet at all, but
yeah,
it's great. I think Remix we've been using for a lot of our internal tools. We found it really performant, really good. Like we're talking about 150,000 merchant locations loading up in seconds rather than trying to do that on pure front end rather server-side rendering is just it's a joke, and it was just faster than Next as well. We really like Remix.
I actually last year I reached out to Remix. They were having this conference last year, and I reached out to them because I know them from local meetups, Kent at least, and Michael and Ryan I've met as well. I wanted to sponsor them. I have Dash sponsor them, or at least open a conversation about it. They ultimately didn't feel comfortable with that because they are now owned by Shopify, who is a payment provider. So they weren't comfortable with it. I would hope that at some point we can break into that, give them some money, and help increase Dash's reputation in this space, as we discussed earlier. But that's plans down the road. So I think we've gone for a while here. Let's have some closing remarks, I guess, and wrap this up. Anything else to say? Mikhail, your proposal's coming up in soon, and mine's already up. Thank you for the early support on that, by the way, for those of you who have voted. And any closing remarks, Ash or Mikhail?
Mikhail, you can go first.
Well, I don't have anything specifically to say, but we will be continuing building, continue working on stuff, and let it be the great quarter.
I'm looking forward to it.
I think from my case, obviously, spend is outside the incubator. It's a sort of commercial sort of product, but everything that we do kind of like ties together. There is overlap with incubator stuff. I'm really excited to launch that pretty soon. I'm not going to go say dates because I think that's always a recipe for disaster. But then, it'll be a case of bringing that into other products and leveraging that in ways to bring in audiences and add value to our existing audience. I'm really excited for the next quarter and see what the future holds for us all.
Yeah, just speaking for myself, we will definitely be integrating Dash Spend, CTX Spend into the incubator wallet on our end. And we are having Jojo Byte will be coming on next week to show the latest state of that. And I don't know if CTX Spend will be in there. Probably not. It won't be, probably.
They have a Postman collection and API keys. It's happening, but there's some outlying bits there, but things are very much progressing. So excited for that.
All right, guys, let's call it there. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we will see you next week.
Thanks.
See you around.
Bye.